24 Parganas district in West Bengal on Thursday morning. Members of a community ransacked and looted shops belonging to another community. Cash worth more than 1 crore was looted from the shops. Later, revenge rioting happened, where shops of those who rioted earlier were gutted and destroyed. A gas cutter was used to break the shutters of the shops, allegedly in front of the police. The police fired a few rounds in the air to bring the situation under control. The situation reportedly worsened further when the local MLA and a Minister of State for Minority Affairs, Ghyasuddin Mullah, reached the spot and reportedly abused and insulted cops. Reportedly, he asked the police to release members of a particular community held by the police on the spot, claiming they were his men. As per a report received, a total of 15 people have been arrested so far. Rioters have been roaming around freely, brandishing swords, making the area virtually out of bounds for the media. NewsX is the only channel to have exclusive pictures which narrate the sordid saga of violence over there. Saurav Sanyal joins us from Kolkata. Saurav, give us more detail. How exactly did this violence start over there in South 24 Parganas yesterday?
Well, the epicenter of the clash, the visuals which we have access exclusive.
Give us more detail. How exactly did this violence start over there in South 24 Parganas yesterday?
Well, the epicenter of the clash, the visuals which we have access exclusively on NewsX, it pertains to a place called Usthi, which is 30 kilometers ahead of Diamond Harbour, which is a prominent town in South 24 Parganas. Interestingly, this is the constituency of Trinamool Congress MP and Mamata Banerjee's nephew Abhishek Banerjee. So essentially, the entire chain of events, as we have learned, started surrounding a procession, Saraswati Puja immersion procession, which was passing through particular villages in that area in Usthi. This is when members of one particular community, they objected to the procession and said that was hampering the prayers which were going on in other neighboring places of worship. So that led to a heated argument on both sides, and which finally took the shape of this horrid, communal tension that we are seeing, which gripped that entire area. What we are also getting to hear is just not Thursday, Jujar, violent bombings were reported, indiscriminate bombing was reported all of Wednesday night also, after that procession was stopped from passing through the village. So the situation completely went out of hand, and
what is the situation there now?
Law and order completely took a... The situation continues to be very, very volatile. It is very tense. The air is pregnant with kind of anticipation as to what is going to happen next. But the curative step that has been taken by the administration now is that, a section 144 has been clamped, and in fact a BJP delegation which wanted to enter the area today was stopped and was prevented from going in. 15 people have been arrested on charges of loot and arson.
All right. RSN Singh, former RAW officer, in the studio with us as well. Saurav, stay with us. We also have Fuad Halim, leader from the CPM. Mr. Halim, what do you say about the violence? What do you say? I mean, we're hearing Saurav is saying this is Mamata Banerjee's MP nephew Abhishek Banerjee's constituency. What do you make of this?
Absolutely. There are two parts to it. The first part that one has to understand is the character of this type of violence has been unheard of in Bengal for the past almost 35-40 years, and this is gaining ground here in Bengal. The second part of the second issue is that the law administration has absolutely no area domination, and we find that when they are actually trying to exert their domination, we find the Trinamool, what you call leadership, trying to inhibit them and actually interfere with the process of law keeping.
Mm-hmm. And we also hear, in fact, before I come to RSN, Saurav Sanyal, let me just ask you, because the information we have over here is that Mamata Banerjee's Minister of State for Minority Affairs, Ghyasuddin Mullah, also reached the spot. He was insulting the cops. Many of his supporters were arrested as well. Was he fanning the trouble?
Well, that would be, premature on our part to jump the gun and, conclude that he was actually fanning the trouble. But
why were
that
his
is what
supporters
the
arrested
BJP is alleging. Yes, that's right. In fact, supporters have been arrested. It's for everyone to see how to make 2 and 2 4. But the fact of the matter is that Ghiyasuddin Mullah has evaded NewsX cameras the whole day. He has been untraceable. He has disconnected our calls on multiple occasions, but finally we did manage to speak with him, where he initially denied that he was present at that particular spot. But since we confronted him with the photographic evidence that we have with us exclusively, he then relented and said yes, he was there, but that was in his capacity as a minister to try and bring the law and order situation under control. And he also went on to explain, since the police was in lesser number, was completely outnumbered by the rioters, he had to step in at that particular point. He did not want to make any further comment, but went on to say that this is being orchestrated by the BJP and nothing else. It is being done to defame Mamata Banerjee's government, and that the administration and the police will answer. But the fact is, Juja, really, what was the administration doing when the mobs were completely out on a rampage, when law and order completely took a back seat in Didi's backyard, and as we reported, that rioters were running amok with brandishing swords in broad daylight while the police was watching from the sidelines?
All right. RSN, on the face of it, looks like, okay, one community taking out a procession over there, the other community objecting to it, saying it's disturbing their prayers, violence starts, it's a communal violence case going on over there. But is it that simple? It very much looks like there are political overtones underlying what is happening in Bengal over here.
It's not at all simple. While we have been obsessed with our, western borders.
Yeah.
I mean, somehow, West Bengal are eastern borders, and you cannot, discuss Bengal today without taking the complementarity of Bangladesh into consideration, has been slipping away into this jihadi cauldron. And this is, you saw how the JMB and others have made bases in West Bengal after Sheikh Hasina cracked down there. Now, what surprised me even then, when this Nandigram violence was taking place, I mean, the scale and magnitude of the violence. And now, I mean, I can, if looking back in retrospect, it is where these elements, from Bangladesh and other these fundamentalist elements, which were used by one particular party to foment violence there.
Yeah, but what's puzzling over here for the lead from the CPM is that you have Abhishek Banerjee, Mamata's nephew's constituency, number one, and number two, you have one of her ministers, the minority affairs minister, who's actually going out there and is creating trouble, insulting the police and all of that. Why would Mamata Banerjee's government want to create such trouble in her own nephew's constituency?
If Abhishek Banerjee is the member of Lok Sabha from there, and Ghiyasuddin Mullah is a minister in the TMC, then one must not rule out that the BJP wants to rush into this cauldron of events. They have already expressed their desire to put their hand on the pan. So one has to understand that sensible people have to come forward, and the social engineering which has ensured that West Bengal has kept away communal what you call activities for the last 35-40 years, because at the grassroots level, the land movement, the other movements, we have stitched the people together, the communities together, the castes together here in West Bengal. And people who actually
I'm sorry to say,
in the communal polarization,
I'm sorry to say,
polarization,
I'm
they
sorry,
are trying to run into the battlefield and
for
they
Dalim,
are
RSN saying is
engineering these
RSN saying
activities.
it looks like
And
for
definitely you should be sorry.
For Dalim, RSN saying wants to say something.
RSN should be sorry.
I
agree with him. He should be sorry. He should really be sorry, because the BJP.
I'm sorry to say, just hear me out. Just hear me out.
You have the BJP in the center actually.
Mr. Leader from CPIM, just listen to me.
Secularism and socialism from the preamble.
Sir, just listen to me. Listen to me.
Is definitely
Mr. Alim, 1 second.
Listen to me.
RSN wants to say something.
I'm not given to talking while others are talking. Let me tell you, no side is innocent in this. He was telling 35 years of peace, in West Bengal. They had monopolized on all the instruments of violence. One of their chief ministers is on record. The longest chief minister, Mr. Jyoti Basu is on record and saying in late 70s that I do not distinguish between the proletariat of Bangladesh and the proletariat of India. And therefore, he said, I mean, we have absolutely no problems if Bangladeshis are coming here. So this thing has been growing. So if CPM, is today saying that it was a very peaceful state, they brought in an ism which the people, this land of, this this land does not deserve.
All right, okay.
And it brought all the violence along
One
with
second.
it.
We've got 30 seconds left before we close this. Fuad Halim, a quick response. He's basically saying that your government before that the CPM
Yes, they won.
created the condition for this communal cauldron, which is West Bengal today.
Absolutely. I accept Mr. Arun Singh's apology, which he said that he is sorry for, because, you know, that idea is not valid today. After 40 years of keeping communalism at bay, today we are seeing new chapters being written here.
You're diverting the charge of the
government
CPM.
and the state government, both people being interested in this.
You're not answering the charge on the
was very
CPM.
clear. He called the Bharatiya
You're not
Janata
answering the
Party
charge on the CPM.
That's what I'm saying. If Jyoti Basu... Well, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. West Bengal has not had large-scale and small-scale communal riots over the past 35, 40 years. I think so that itself answers Mr. Arun Singh's
monopoly
question.
over violence.
As far as Jyoti Basu goes,
Right.
The
very clear.
police during the CPM's time was entirely politicized.
Anyway, we've run out of time. But Fuad Halim, let me remind you of the political violence that marked the CPM rule over West Bengal. Or you want to pull out some figures and talk about that? Maybe we'll do that another time. But in the meantime, Mr. Halim, thank you for joining us. Arun Singh and Saurav Sinha.